The arrival. The warning signal. In the year 2257, Earth had become a wasteland. Centuries of unending wars, rampant industrial pollution, and catastrophic climate change had boiled the oceans and turned the sky into a permanent haze of ash. The once vibrant blue planet was now a hostile environment where no alien could survive. Despite this, humanity had adapted. The last remaining millions of humans lived deep underground in fortified bunkers, relying on advanced hydroponic farms, generators, and water reclaimers to eke out an existence. The planet was their fortress, and they knew that any greedy galactic empire would see Earth as a treasure trove of resources. As a scout ship from the Galactic Confederation descended through the toxic clouds, its automated systems sent a distress signal back to the fleet. The message was clear: Earth was not viable for harvest. The scout ship's crew had died almost instantly upon landing, their bodies dissolving into a puddle of steaming green goo. Earth's defense. Commander Thur of the Confederation stood on the observation deck, his reptilian eyes narrowing as he read the distress signal on his datapad. 3 brave explorers dead. Cause unknown, he growled, crushing the pad in his grip. Lieutenant Zaxis, send word to the fleet. We're going to Earth. I want answers, and I want that planet claimed for the Confederation today. On the surface of Earth, a young scavenger named Rear trudged through the toxic sludge. His rebreather mask fogged with each breath in the humid, poisonous air. Rear, a resourceful and curious individual, was searching for salvage. As he swept his scanner across the landscape of twisted metal and skeletal remains of cities, the device pinged, indicating potential salvage. The discovery. Rear altered his course, and after an hour of slogging through the muck, reached the source of the signal. There, half buried in the mud, lay an alien ship unlike anything he had ever seen. It was sleek and angular, made of strange alloys that shimmered despite the grime. Rear approached cautiously, his plasma rifle ready. As he peered into the ship's gaping hole, he was met with the acrid stench of death. Inside, the emergency lights flickered, revealing puddles of viscous ooze that were once alien crew members. Rear gagged at the sight but steadied himself, driven by curiosity. He radioed his base plate. This is Rear. I found an alien ship. The crew. They're all dead. Looks recent. After a pause, the reply crackled through. Stay where you are. Hazmat teams inbound. The invasion begins. Rear couldn't resist the urge to explore further. He stepped inside the alien ship, his flashlight cutting through the murky darkness. He saw more puddles of liquefied alien bodies, the remnants of their clothing tangled in the mess. Suddenly, his scanner detected incoming ships. The Confederation was coming, and they had no idea what horrors awaited them on Earth. Rear took up a defensive position, knowing the environment would kill the aliens just as it had killed the scout ship's crew. As the Confederation ships landed, their hatches opened to reveal soldiers in bulky environment suits. Commander Thur led the way, barking orders in his hissing language. Rear watched as the aliens began to falter, their suits offering no protection against Earth's lethal atmosphere. Within minutes, the entire expedition force lay dead, their bodies dissolving into the toxic ground. Rear reported back to his base. They're all dead. The ships are abandoned. Earth's secret weapon. As the hazmat teams arrived to secure the site, Rear couldn't help but wonder about the secrets the alien technology held. However, he knew that Earth's greatest weapon was its environment, a natural defense that no alien could withstand. The humans would continue to guard their home, ready to fight any invader who dared to set foot on their planet. The Confederate retaliation. The Confederate Council. In the echoing halls of the Galactic Confederation's headquarters, the council members sat in stunned silence. Reports of the deaths on Earth trickled in, and the reality of the planet's deadly environment became clear. This cannot stand, declared Ambassador Zach, slamming his fist on the table. Earth poses a clear and present danger to the Confederation. It must be quarantined immediately. The council voted swiftly and unanimously. Earth was declared off-limits, the forbidden world. No further contact would be permitted, but not all were content with this decision. In the shadowed corners of the Confederation, a ruthless warlord named Orcs saw opportunity where others saw only danger. Orcs' plan. Orcs envisioned armies of humans, their bodies weaponized by the very toxins that had made their world uninhabitable. He would be unstoppable. Quietly, he gathered a team of mercenaries, the most vicious and cunning in the galaxy. They met in secret, poring over the scant data on Earth and its defenses. The humans will not give up their secrets easily, Orcs warned. But they are primitive, weak. We will crush them and take what we need. The invasion force. On Earth, Rear was monitoring the planet's surface from his bunker. A flashing red light caught his attention. A ship approaching fast. No, not just one. A dozen, maybe more. Impossible, Rear breathed. The Confederation had declared Earth off-limits. Who would dare violate the quarantine? Rear sprinted through the bunker corridors, bursting into the Overseer's chamber. "Sir, we have a situation," he gasped. "Alien ships inbound. A lot of them, and they're not friendlies." The Overseer, a grizzled veteran of Earth's wars, narrowed his eyes. "Show me." As he took in the data, his face hardened. "So they're coming for us," he growled. "They think they can take what they want, just like all the others before them." Preparing for battle, the Overseer turned to Rear. "Sound the alarm. We need to evacuate the civilians to the deep bunkers and get every able-bodied fighter to the armories." Rear nodded, his heart pounding. He had trained for this day, like all the youth in the bunkers, but he had never thought it would actually come. As alarms blare and soldiers rush to prepare for battle, Rear couldn't shake the sense of dread that settled over him. The aliens were coming, and they had no idea what horrors Earth had in store for them. High above, Orcs' ships sliced through the ash-choked skies, drawing ever closer to their target. The warlord smiled, his sharp teeth glinting in the dim light of the bridge. "Prepare the containment units," he ordered. "I want the first specimen secured within the hour." The final battle. On Earth, Rear stepped out onto the planet's blasted surface, his breath fogging in his rebreather mask. He joined the line of soldiers taking up defensive positions, their weapons trained on the sickly green sky. They waited, hearts pounding, as the ominous silhouettes of the alien ships grew larger and larger. The ships descended, their hulls glinting in the poisonous light. Rear's finger tightened on his rifle's trigger as he whispered a silent prayer to whatever gods might still listen to humanity's pleas. "Come on, you bastards," he muttered. "Come and see what Earth has waiting for you." The ships landed, and armored figures emerged, weapons at the ready. They moved with the precision of a well-oiled machine, fanning out to secure the landing site. But the humans were ready for them. Earth's counterattack. From the rubble of long-dead cities and the twisted wreckage of ancient war machines, the defenders of Earth emerged. They wore patchwork armor and carried battered weapons, but their eyes burned with fierce determination. At their head was Rear, his face grim behind his rebreather mask. He had prepared for this moment, drilled his soldiers relentlessly. They knew every inch of this broken landscape, every hidden danger. "Remember the plan," Rear growled over the comm. "Draw them in, let the environment do its work, and when they're weak, we strike." The humans melted back into the ruins, disappearing like ghosts. Orcs' mercenaries advanced, scanning for targets, but there was nothing, only the eerie stillness of the dead planet. Earth's wrath unleashed. The trap springs. As Orcs' mercenaries advanced, the deadly environment of Earth began to take its toll. One by one, the aliens stumbled, their high-tech suits failing to protect them from the toxic air. Within minutes, they were writhing on the ground, their bodies dissolving into puddles of green goo. The humans watched grimly from their hiding spots, waiting for the right moment to strike. The human attack. When the mercenaries were at their weakest, Rear and his team launched their attack. Emerging from the shadows, they fired with deadly precision. Alien soldiers fell one after another, their advanced weapons useless against an enemy they couldn't see. Rear pressed forward, leading his soldiers toward Karox's ship. The showdown. As they approached the ship, a hulking figure loomed out of the toxic haze. Karox, his armor more robust than his soldiers, stood with a massive gun in his hands. He fired, the bolts sizzling past Rear's head. Rear dropped to one knee, bringing up his rifle. The two adversaries faced each other, weapons locked. Rear smiled coldly. "You still don't get it, do you? It's not us you're fighting. It's Earth itself." He gestured to the fallen mercenaries, their bodies dissolving into the poisoned ground. "This planet, our home, is death to your kind, and we're its guardians." Karox roared in rage and charge, firing wildly. Rear rolled to the side, coming up in a crouch, and fired. The pulse of his rifle stitched across Karox's armor, breaching the plates. The warlord stumbled, toxic air hissing into his suit. He fell to his knees, clawing at his helmet, trying desperately to seal the breach. But it was too late. The aftermath. Rear watched grimly as Karox convulsed, his body going into spasms as the planet's lethal atmosphere did its work. In moments, it was over. The once mighty warlord was nothing more than a puddle of liquefied flesh and shattered armor. Rear turned to his soldiers, triumph and exhaustion etched in equal measure on his face. "Signal the bunkers. Tell them it's over. We've won." In the days that followed, the human resistance swept the planet, rounding up the few surviving mercenaries. They offered a simple choice: surrender or die. Most chose the former. As the dust settled, communication channels crackled to life. The Galactic Confederation, shaken by Karox's rogue actions and the evidence of Earth's lethality, offered a tentative hand of diplomacy. The diplomatic move. Rear, hailed as a hero by his people, stepped forward to meet the Confederation's envoys. No longer a mere scavenger, he found himself taking on the mantle of ambassador. In the grand chambers of the Confederation's capital, Rear stood tall, his scavenged armor replaced by a simple, clean uniform. He faced the assembled dignitaries, his voice clear and strong. "Earth is not your plaything," he declared. "We will not be conquered, exploited, or collected. We are a sovereign world, and we demand to be treated as such." There were murmurs of assent, nods of respect. The Confederation, cowed by their losses and the display of human resilience, had little choice but to agree. As the negotiations wore on, Rear thought of his planet, his people. They had survived the worst the universe could throw at them, from their own folly to the greed of others. And now, finally, they had a chance at something more, not just survival, but a future. Looking to the stars. Rear looked to the stars, to the infinite possibilities that lay beyond. Earth would be a part of that future, he vowed, no longer a poisoned, quarantined backwater, but a power in its own right. He would make sure of it, whatever the cost. For he was Rear, the defender of Earth, the ambassador of a world that had looked into the abyss and refused to blink. And he was just getting started. A new threat. A dark scheme. In the shadowed corners of the Confederation, not everyone was pleased with the peace accord. A new threat began to brew as disgruntled factions conspired to overthrow the agreement. Their leader, a cunning and ruthless tactician named Zorak, believed that Earth still held untapped resources and potential for exploitation. Zorak's plan was simple: covertly destabilize Earth's defenses and conquer it from within. The infiltration. Zorak dispatched a team of spies and saboteurs to Earth, their mission to blend in with the human population and gather intelligence on their defenses. These agents were skilled in disguise and deception, capable of mimicking human behavior and language. They infiltrated the bunkers, posing as refugees from distant colonies, and began their work of undermining Earth's stability. Rear's vigilance. Rear, now the appointed leader of Earth's Defense Council, was not easily fooled. He had survived too much to be taken in by lies. His sharp instincts and keen observation skills soon alerted him to the presence of the infiltrators. He quietly began an investigation, using his network of trusted allies to gather evidence and expose the traitors. The discovery. One evening, while reviewing security footage, Rear noticed something odd about a group of newcomers. Their movements were too synchronized, their interactions too calculated. He decided to confront one of them, a man who called himself Lark. Rear approached Lark under the guise of a friendly conversation, probing him with seemingly innocuous questions. Lark's responses were flawless, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of unease. Rear pressed harder, his tone growing more insistent. Finally, Lark's composure cracked, and he attempted to flee. Rear tackled him, a concealed weapon falling from Lark's sleeve. The interrogation. Rear had Lark restrained and brought to an interrogation chamber. Under the intense scrutiny of Rear and his team, Lark revealed the plot orchestrated by Zorak. The saboteurs' mission was to dismantle Earth's defenses and prepare the way for an invasion. Rear knew the threat was serious and acted swiftly. Rallying the defenders, Rear convened an emergency meeting of Earth's leaders. He laid out the evidence and warned them of the imminent danger. "We have faced invasions before," Rear declared. "We have survived because we are strong and united. But this threat comes from within. We must root out the saboteurs and strengthen our defenses." The council members, inspired by Rear's leadership, pledged their full support. Together, they devised a plan to identify and neutralize the infiltrators. It was a race against time as they worked tirelessly to secure their bunkers and protect their people. The battle within. Unmasking the traitors. With Rear's guidance, Earth's defenders began systematically unmasking the saboteurs. They conducted thorough background checks, scrutinized behavior patterns, and used advanced technology to detect anomalies. It was a painstaking process, but one by one, the infiltrators were exposed and apprehended. Zorak's desperation. Zorak, realizing his plan was unraveling, grew desperate. He ordered his remaining agents to launch a series of attacks, hoping to create chaos and weaken Earth's defenses. Explosions rocked the bunkers, and panic spread among the civilians. But Rear and his team remained steadfast, coordinating their response and quelling the unrest. A personal sacrifice. During one of the attacks, Rear found himself facing a group of heavily armed saboteurs. Outnumbered and outgunned, he fought valiantly, his every move calculated to protect his people. As the battle raged on, Rear was wounded, a deep gash running down his arm. But he refused to back down. With sheer determination, he managed to defeat the attackers, securing a crucial victory. A new resolve. Rear's bravery inspired his fellow defenders. They redoubled their efforts, fortifying their bunkers and enhancing their surveillance systems. The people of Earth, once again united, stood ready to face any threat. Rear, despite his injury, continued to lead with unwavering resolve, his presence a beacon of hope for all. The final stand. The climactic battle. As Zorak's forces prepared for a full-scale assault, Earth's defenders readied themselves for the climactic battle. The sky darkened with the approach of enemy ships, and tension filled the air. Rear, now fully recovered, stood at the forefront, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. The first wave of attackers descended, their ships bristling with weapons. Earth's automated defenses sprang to life, firing relentlessly at the invaders. Explosions lit up the sky as enemy vessels were torn apart. But the battle was far from over. A desperate gambit. Zorak, determined to seize victory, unleashed his most powerful weapon. A massive warship armed with experimental technology. It cut through Earth's defenses with ease, its energy beams slicing through the bunker's reinforced walls. Rear knew they had to act quickly or face annihilation. Gathering a team of elite soldiers, Rear devised a bold plan. They would infiltrate the warship and disable its main weapon. It was a high-risk mission, but there was no other choice. Under the cover of night, they launched their attack. slipping past enemy patrols and boarding the vessel. The showdown. Inside the warship, the team moved with precision, neutralizing guards and navigating the labyrinthine corridors. They reached the weapons control room, only to find Zorak waiting for them. The warlord smirked, confident in his superiority. "You are brave, but foolish," Zorak taunted. "You cannot hope to defeat me." Rear stepped forward, his voice steady. "Bravery is not foolishness. It is the strength to stand against tyranny." The final showdown began. Rear and Zorak clashed in a fierce battle, their movements a blur of speed and power. The team worked frantically to disable the weapon. The seconds ticking away. In a moment of desperation, Rear managed to land a decisive blow, crippling Zorak's defenses. The victory. With Zorak defeated and the weapon disabled, the warship began to destabilize. The team hurried to escape, the vessel's systems failing around them. They made it out just in time, the warship exploding in a blinding flash of light. Earth's defenders had won, but at great cost. A new dawn. The aftermath. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, Earth stood victorious once more. The people emerged from their bunkers, weary but triumphant. Rear, hailed as a hero, was greeted with cheers and gratitude. But he knew the fight was far from over. A time for healing. Rear addressed the survivors, his voice filled with hope and determination. "We have faced darkness and emerged stronger. Now is the time for healing, for rebuilding. We must learn from our past and protect our future." The people set to work, repairing the damage and fortifying their defenses. They knew that Earth would always be a target, but they were ready to face any challenge. Rear, now a symbol of resilience and leadership, guided them with wisdom and strength. A new beginning. In the grand chambers of the Confederation, Rear once again stood before the council. This time, he spoke not just as a defender of Earth, but as a representative of a united and powerful planet. "Earth is no longer a backwater world," he declared. "We are a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of resilience and strength. We seek peace, but we are prepared for war. Let us move forward together as allies and equals." The council, moved by Rear's words, agreed to a new era of cooperation. Earth would be recognized as a sovereign power, its people respected, and its resources protected. It was a new beginning, a chance for humanity to thrive in a galaxy that had once sought to destroy them. Looking to the future, Rear stood on the observation deck of a newly built starship, gazing out at the stars. The universe was vast and filled with challenges, but it was also full of possibilities. He knew that Earth's journey was just beginning, and he was ready to lead his people into a future of endless potential. With a final look at his home planet, Rear smiled. "This is just the beginning," he whispered. "We are humanity. We are strong, and we will conquer the stars."